Hope everybody enjoy their holidays. Whatever you celebrate, whatever you pray to, even if you don't, and you just enjoy the time off of work and got to spend time with your family or by yourself, right? Kudos to you out there. How did you spend your holidays, Kirk?
Basically a little bit with family, a lot of working. Like I mentioned to you before, Christmas isn't what it used to be. Kind of find it a little bit different now. But I mean, I had a great Christmas. I mean, food was great. I got to see family I haven't seen in a while. So yeah.
That's
How was
awesome.
yours? Is it good?
Yeah, mine was good. I spent it by myself. I enjoyed it.
Oh, there you go, man.
Like Superman,
Oh,
Fortress of Solitude.
that's
But
it, man.
anyway, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now. Just know that you are locked in until the point with the king. You guys find us Apple, Amazon, Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, X, got some of those. YouTube, which is hopefully where you're watching us. And if you are, please click subscribe. Please click like, leave a comment. Once we get up to 750 subs, this is going out to somebody. You can hit me up. I'll pick you up a random. Man, that's one awesome sweater. And thank you for enjoying our fantastic guests as we're closing in on 5 years of doing this podcast just for you Raptors fans, especially my man right there, Captain Kirk Alfaro Esquire.
Thank you, King. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Not a problem. I had to have you. I had no choice. We were speaking about this prior to the holidays. But everybody's got a life. So you wanted to initially speak about should the Raptors trade OG Anunoby. And we did kind of speak about it. You guys go check the archives. But you did want to cover that. And over these holidays, a few days just before the new year, right? The Raptors pulled the trigger on that trade for OG Anunoby heading out of Toronto. Now, let's bang this one out, my friend. Okay?
Sure.
With the departure of OG Anunoby, what does that say for the Toronto Raptors lineup and the organization? Hit me.
Well, obviously, the first thing that comes to mind is there's going to be a defensive hole, right? OG Anunoby's known for his defensive prowess, but I don't think much is going to change, man. I don't think a lot is going to change defensively in terms of teams scoring much higher than they are right now against us or anything like that. We do lose a player that played the passing lanes really, really well. It's how he got the majority of his steals. But other than that, we're going to be missing one steal per game. That's going to be gone, and which last year was up at 2. Now it's down to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to be missing his, I don't know what he's averaging this year. I think it's between 15, is it around 15 points a game?
15.1. 4
Yes.
goals, 2.6 assists. And
right.
There was only 21.4.
Right. So, and in return, we're getting Quickly, who's averaging 15, and we're getting RJ Barrett, who's averaging 18. Yeah, it's 18 Barrett, 15 Quickly. So, I mean, right there, right off the bat, offensively, we're doing a lot. We have a lot more, for sure. Absolutely. And that's exactly what the Raptors need, man. They need more scorers on offense, more consistent scorers on offense. And, I guess if you look at Toronto and you say, what does that leave? What does OG Anunoby leave? What hole does he leave? I would say a little bit of defense. That's about all we're going to be missing.
Yeah, and a little bit of fan favoritism because don't get it twisted. I know some fans are like extremely upset about OG going.
Why?
I wanted him to stay personally. I didn't want him to go. But, however, Toronto did land RJ Barrett. He came home. Okay. Now, let me ask you, what does RJ Barrett provide for this Toronto Raptors lineup and organization?
Well, if he can start playing like he did at the beginning of the season, it would be great. But he's been getting chirped at by the media down there because he hasn't been able to. His productivity has gone down big time since the start of the season. I think they started at 3-1, and they've been mediocre ever since. And some games he just disappears. So I think, if he comes here and he starts playing up to his potential, and it could be Tom Thibodeau was a very defensive-minded coach. Up here with our coach, it could just open him up offensively, which I'm hoping it does. I think if he comes and starts playing the way he did at the beginning of the season here, he should be starting. And I think he brings points. He's long. He brings leadership. He's coming from New York, the mecca of basketball, man. You can't go to the washroom without the media
exactly
asking
what I
where
wanted
you are.
to ask you. It's like a basketball player on the New York Knicks organization is the equivalent to a player on the Toronto Maple Leafs organization.
There you go.
You're under
right.
constant scrutiny.
Exactly, and
so you think he could flourish?
I think he definitely could flourish. I don't think we've seen. I think Tom Thibodeau's game, his game plan, and stuff like that. He's always been known as a defensive minded coach. Always been. And I just think that kind of hindered RJ to a certain level. He never played Julius Randle at the center position.
Yeah,
he was always playing
forward.
Yeah, sometimes even small forward. So that's RJ's spot. Either point guard or he shifts down to those, either the off guard or the small forward guard. And there just wasn't enough ball for him. And with Julius Randle, who is an amazing player. He's a budding superstar as well. But I think here in Toronto,
go on.
Yeah, so I think here in Toronto, he's going to get those looks. He's going to be, looked upon to provide scoring, because here in Toronto, it's what we need, man. We need scorers. And so he gets the ball, you score. There's no Julius Randle anymore. Pascal, he tends to defer if you're having a good game. That's why I like Pascal. He tends to defer. If you're having a good game, he's looking for you. So I think that having RJ Barrett, I think it's a good thing. He needed a change of scenery, a new coach, and I think he's going to flourish in Toronto.
It's like hitting F5 on the computer with that refresh.
There you go.
Right?
There you go, yeah.
Right? And speaking of F5, let's go to F6, okay? With the high IQ, get it? Emmanuel Quickly, okay? He is, I would say he's like one of these diamonds in the rough. Just one of them, right? I don't think he was utilized, like you said, Tom. You just said it. Tom Thibodeau was more of a defensive-minded coach, right? But these guys, when they had the opportunities to shine on offense in the Mecca, in Madison Square Garden, they took it. They did very well. Like when I look at their stats, when I look at their numbers, RJ has been consistent his whole career. Okay. And by the way, I did say on one episode, you guys could flash back a couple years ago. I did say I wanted the Raptors to draft RJ Barrett. I did say that. Quickly, he's elevated his game, right? And these guys are averaging 24 to 30 minutes a game. They've had only like 5 or 4 seasons. OG has had 7, and we all understand the contract situation, which totally makes sense in the Raptors' favor. But Emmanuel Quickly, I did not get to watch too much of him, but from what I saw, I extremely liked.
He reminds me of Tyrese, what's his name? Maxey, Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, yeah?
He reminds me of him a lot. Yeah. Yeah, man. These guys are spark plugs, man. And they run. He's quick. I remember him destroying the Raptors in one game. I think it was like a year ago or maybe 2 years ago. Just absolutely dismantled the Raptors just by his athleticism and running and stuff like that. This guy is the steal of the draft. This is what makes Masai look good. This is what is going to make the Raptor fans forget about OG Anunoby. Is this guy, Emmanuel Quickly. This guy's like I said, a lightning bug, man. He when he scores in bunches and does it consistently. He's been doing it off the bench, coming off the bench in New York. He's playing, and again, like you said, I'll back that up. I don't think he was utilized correctly by Tom Thibodeau. He's been playing behind Jalen Brunson, who is he's going to be a superstar pretty soon.
Yeah.
He's not an all-star this year. And then you got DiVincenzo, who's been playing like lights out some of these games. Where'd this guy come from, eh?
The hell of a shooter.
Yeah, so he's been kind of playing behind these guys and coming in, but now he's going to be afforded an opportunity to start. I think he should be starting. I don't think there should be a question that he should be starting. But now he's getting to
I think he should be on the bench.
Yeah?
Either that, or if he is going to start, I will, to agree with you, is Trent will have to go on the bench.
Yeah, and I'm for that as well. I mean, Trent has been he's streaky, right? If Quickly comes in and he's dropping 20 a game, I'm sorry, man, but Trent, you got to come off the bench. I mean, there's a hole in the starting lineup right now. There's a hole in the starting lineup right now by OG not being there, and I think right now you have to put in Quickly in there. This guy's. I'm telling you, Toronto Raptors are going to be very, very, very happy with Quickly. Now, I say that with a caveat, not to get too enamored with the guy, because you got to remember Toronto's history. We do not keep U.S.-born players here. They do not want to stay here. So even if he has a great season this year, don't expect him to stick around. I'm telling you right now, do not hold your breath, okay? That is why the whole Sabonis, and I know you and I went back and forth about what we could have gotten compared to what we gotten. So let's look at it quickly. Great start, great trade. I would have done that straight up for OG Anunoby, but we got RJ Barrett and we got a second draft choice. We could have gotten Domantas Sabonis and 3 first-round draft picks.
You're living in the past, Mark. Quit living in the past.
If you think about it, but I'm glad Quickly's here. Whatever happened. I'm glad Quickly's here because he's a game changer for the Raptors. Now, I don't think, I said, I don't think he's going to stick around.
You did say ahead of time, though, that that's who the Raptors should trade for.
They should have targeted him, yeah. And I'm glad they got him. I didn't think that they were going to get RJ Barrett as well, which is a bonus. I thought maybe, if that trade was going to go down, maybe Quickly and maybe 2 first-round draft picks. I didn't think OG was worth 3. I don't know where the 3 came, but you can tell it's very telling now that he went from a bona fide, Raptors went from requesting a bona fide star, not a star, but a bona fide player and 3 first-round draft picks to getting Quickly, RJ Barrett, his potential is kind of in question right now, and a second round draft pick. That is very, his OG's stock went down so much after he got injured from that house chore. Apparently, all the GMs were like, "Man, I'm not dealing. This guy's injury prone." Now that just proves this guy's made out of glass. We're not going to go near him. New York. Oh, I love New York, but their curse is just going to continue now. It's just going to continue now. This is going to go down as one of the worst trades that the New York team has ever made.
As long as James Dolan is in charge. But yeah. But New York are going to shine some bright lights on let's sum these two up, because you just said something right there. You just said RJ putting in minutes, Quickly putting in minutes, putting up points, right? Doing it efficiently, right? But and the Raptors did ship out Malachi Flynn and Precious Achiuwa, right? Do you think that with the departure of those two just alone, right, that maybe these two can handle what we were expecting, because we did expect Malachi to come out like a dog. We did expect Precious to come out like a dog. And that experiment failed. What do you think of
Yeah.
them shining in the bright lights in the mecca of basketball?
You know, I think Malachi needs to be put in the right situation. You know, when players get traded, people think that because they're traded that they're no good. No, that's not true at all.
Oh, his
Those teams,
asset value went up. I, bro, I could go with
those teams,
him.
those teams that want guys like Malachi and Achua, they want them for a reason. Okay, they're not just picking them for no reason. They not just blindly look at, okay, we'll take him and him. No, they're picking them because they feel that they can contribute to their basketball team. So I expect Malachi. So I don't know where to start with Malachi because he works so hard, man. You can tell he works really, really hard, but he just doesn't have the athletic attributes, the physical attributes to do what he wants to do, unfortunately, but you see that he has that mentality, he gets down on defense and stuff like that. And I hope, he comes off the bench in New York, and I hope he gets 10 to 12 points a game. That would be good. I wish he could have done that here at the Raptors. It didn't work out here. I don't think maybe the rotation was good for him. I don't think the game plan favored him in any way, his style of game. Perhaps maybe down in New York it might help. Same with Achua. Achua is a freak of nature when it comes to athleticism. Sometimes he can shoot the three, sometimes he can't. Sometimes he swishes, sometimes he airballs. But again, he does everything okay. He doesn't do anything great, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Hopefully Malachi can find a shooting touch, and he can help the New York Knicks, help him out coming off the bench. I hope Achua can, just be a good role player for the New York Knicks, because that's what he's expected to be. Just go out and get 10 points a game, 5 to 7 boards a game, and they'll be fine. That's what their type of player. That's what they're expected to do, and I hope they do it.
Okay. I'm sad to see Malachi. I was a big supporter of him.
I liked him too.
Right. I saw a lot of potential in him, and like you just said, maybe the system didn't fit him right. Precious, I'm pretty disappointed he goes, because that just thins out the middle on defense. I guess Koliko's getting called up, but
yeah.
Now, Kirk, this is why I asked you to come on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you click away from this right now, I don't blame you. Okay? I would prefer that you do. But, however, Kirk will have something to say when I propose this question to him. Who won the trade? The Raptors or the Knicks?
Well, I think I've already answered it. The Knicks. I think that getting Emmanuel quickly was the steal. I would have been happy. With OG Anunoby for IQ. Straight up, man. The fact that we got RJ Barrett and a second round draft pick as well is, to me, is a messiah. Give him a clap. I give him his flowers for doing that. That's amazing, because after OG Anunoby. Okay, so first off, this is what I want to start off by saying. I've been saying this on your show a lot, King. But to all my naysayers out there, okay, again, I told you so. Okay, and what did I tell you? That OG Anunoby lost a ton of his value after injuring himself at home doing house chores. And that's apparently doing house chores. No one really knows what he did. The media didn't bother to ask him until he came back weeks later and then announced that, oh yeah, I was hurt. I was gone from the team for 3 weeks without no one knowing. And I hurt my hand. Try doing that in New York now. I try doing that. Anyway, OG's asking price went from bona fide US, bona fide player, and plus 3 first round draft picks, like I said, to like Emmanuel quickly, RG Barrett, who, there's question marks surrounding him, and a second round draft pick. That's a far cry from what we could have gotten. Like I mentioned before, and I told you his stock went down because of that specific injury that GMs would be iffy at, if given the opportunity at the decision time to get him, because he's now labeled injury prone. Okay, so that means that he's a gamble, and that's exactly what happened, right? And I'm sure the Raptors informed the Knicks off the top, they want a bona fide player plus 3 first-round picks, and the Knicks were like, yeah, right, and OG lost a lot of value, and I just want to come and say to everyone, I told you so. I told you this was going to happen. He wasn't going to get the same value because he hurt himself at home, and that was a big deal. And it's even hilarious to say that. It's pretty embarrassing. I know a lot of Toronto fans are just, biased homers who will not speak a negative word about the supposed stars on the team. But a guy like me, I'm more than happy to point out their flaws, every time, And this guy, he's been, for years I've been saying that he's injury prone, and it doesn't matter if he missed a total of 20 or 30 games over the course of the season, every season. To the homers, that's typical when you play pro sports, which is complete and utter lie. Not sure when the last time LeBron missed games in a row, and he's the oldest guy in the league.
Don't get me started.
Let's not forget that OG would get hurt at practice at times. At practice, the only player that would at practice, and then obviously when he gets hurt at home, forget it, man. It's over. You're a man out of class, and people now are starting to see that. And so, people thought in his 5th year that he was become a superstar, an all-star. And because I said that he didn't have that dog in him to do it at that time. I was lambasted for that. I was told, that guy Rob, I can't remember the other guy. They actually went on your show and called me out on that. And I just say he doesn't have that dog in him. There's no Mamba mentality, which is what you need to become a superstar. And they didn't like that. And speaking of the media, man, he's gone from Toronto, where people babied him, to now he's going to the Mecca of basketball.
Oh,
right, and
this microscope, buddy. Right?
Yeah, and Bleacher Report already came out. This is a quote unquote from their article. So it's titled from Bleacher Report: NBA fans slam Knicks for getting fleeced in OG Anunoby trade with Raptors. So Anunoby, Toronto Raptors beat that. Yeah, the Toronto Raptors fans look at that bewildered, going, what? OG Anunoby's a superstar, though. They don't understand that outside of Toronto, OG Anunoby's nobody, right? And so here, quote unquote, perhaps the most important aspect of Saturday's trade is that it may preclude the Knicks from adding another star during the offseason, meaning they need Anunoby to play like a star and help elevate the team up the title contending ladder. Oh my God, you're asking Anunoby to be a star? Okay, it's over for this guy. Okay, this is a perfect scenario for true unbiased Raptors fans like me, who looked at OG Anunoby as an imposter to what the Toronto media was portraying him out to be. First, he was an elite NBA defender. No, he wasn't. Okay, yet. He can be, he might be, but he's not there yet. Players who consistently make the all-NBA defensive team, guys who are there on the first team one year, the next year they're on the second team, then the third year they're back on the first team. Those guys, those consistent guys, those defensive guys on it every year. Rudy Gobert, Drew Holiday, Matisse Thybulle. Yep. Those guys, those are the elite defensive players, okay? OG Anunoby's made one second team defensive team in 7 years. He's not elite. Okay, that's not elite. Okay, if he makes it again this season, then following season, that's when you can start talking about Anunoby, put him in the conversation of him being an elite defender in the NBA. But here in Canada, the more media portrays him as, and they have for I don't know how many, several years now anyway, that somehow he's one of the best defenders in the NBA. And the sheep that is Toronto Raptors fans are brainwashed into thinking that, and you can see they're bewildered. They look at the headline and they can't even amazing, because this is what's going to happen. Okay, he's going to start out the season amazing. I guarantee you, he's going to start it out on a roll. You know, he's going to become the darling of the New York media.
That was his problem. Sorry to cut you off because we're running out of time, but I agree with you because that was his problem here in Toronto, was the consistency, right? Even though he was putting up the same numbers all the time, it was the consistency.
Yeah, but then when he goes into but when he goes into the slumps in New York, the media's going to pounce on him like they do all the time to anybody, right? Yeah, and then he's going to ask for time he's going to time off for personal reasons, but he's got to work on it because he's made out of glass, fragilely, mentally and physically. He's going to come back, and then he's going to get injured. And then the fans and media are going to go off on him again. And then he flops and he bolts out in New York at the end of the season because he can't handle it. Can you imagine Stephen A. Smith now, Knicks, diehard Knicks fan, has him now in his radar, has him. He probably doesn't like the trade. I can tell you right now he doesn't like it.
We'll find it.
But if OG Anunoby comes in and stinks the place up, oh my God, he's going to lose his mind. OG Anunoby's going to lose his mind.
Okay, Kirk, thank you for your take, and you're welcome to come on the platform anytime you want to get on the soapbox.
Thank you. I had to get that off my chest, man, because it's just, God, it's like a weight. Like, is this guy, every time I read something about the Raptors, it's like, is this guy still on the team? Like, what is going on here?
Dude, I'm just gonna have to call myself Dr. King, right? Just to let you get it off. But I will say, I do think, just really quick, I do think the Raptors did win this trade, and welcome home, RJ. It's nice to have you playing for the home team. I love to see that anytime. And quickly, I want to see what you got, buddy. I want to see how you're going to fit within the system. That's basically what it is. So, Kirk, Captain Kirk Esquire, thank you for joining us here today on To The Point.
Thank you for having me.
Rush, and Happy New Year to all you guys. To whoever's hungover. I missed you that, like, how early this morning? Are you hungover?
I didn't even go out. I don't do anything, man.
Yeah, but you know what? Thank you for coming on, and thank you to the Point family for joining us. You guys can find Kirk for your legal needs, I guess.
Yeah, you can find me at ReliantLegalServices.com coming in the new year.
Awesome. Nothing but the best for you. You guys find me at King Hussein. You know, ladies, I'm still single, right? You know how I roll. And at To The Point, and if you are still watching up until this point, we consider you To The Point family, and we got nothing but love for you, and we will speak to you guys soon. So on behalf of myself, Kirk, Art, Skip, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, and peace.